have preserved our farm. It was a family decision. We all decided that's what we wanted to do because we wanted this farm to remain farming forever. Why we decided to preserve our land, we did that because of development pressure. We live in a little town called Maytown, right on the outskirts. If you see some, you don't see it right now, but if you take some pictures around, you can see how close development is to us. It's real close. In fact, it's right up against our land. And under pressure, we would probably, in the next 5-10 years, been pressured to sell some of our land for development. And being preserved, all the ground that we have now, the 220 acres preserved, gives us the right to farm that. We don't have any outside pressure from development right now at all.
When you preserve that land, you're not allowed to sell it or build upon it for anything other than an agricultural use. Even after our family would no longer farm it, it's kind of a reassuring feeling, knowing that someone can't come along and just build on it if they so desire.
I grew up on the farm. I was always around, involved, and it's one of those things where once it's in your blood, it's always there. I just enjoyed being outdoors. You get to work with the cows. You get to do all kinds of things. Every day is a little different. But getting up in the morning is not one of my strongest points. As far as farmers go, everybody envisions the farmer up at the crack of dawn. I tend to get up a little later, in the ballpark around 7 or so. My job is to take care of the cows and particularly feed them. And I have them on my schedule where they are fed, at like 7 in the morning and 7 in the evening. So I'm in the barn late at night. This is the afternoon milking. And what I'm doing is, first we have to spray the cow with a cleaning fluid to clean the teat before we apply the milking unit. And the milking unit works on a vacuum system. This is the way most farmers, or pretty much all farmers, milk cows anymore. And there is a suction that collects the milk. One side of our farm is completely bordered by town. There are a lot of people, and there is quite a bit of development.
When you have more development, you have more people, and the harder it makes for us to farm. You have more kids that want to ride their four-wheeler across your ground, and motorcycles, and people want to dump stuff on your property. Leaves, grass clippings. The more cars you have on the roads, they don't understand when we're driving up and down the road real slow with a piece of equipment. They have no idea, we're in their way. But they don't realize that we're going somewhere to do something to feed these people. They're trying to tell us to get out of their way. My sons grew up on the farm. When they were little kids running around here, they were like 4 and 5 years old running around in four-wheelers. The kids that live in the cities or little towns, when they go home from school, they have nothing to do. My kids always had something to do. They'd come home, they'd go up in a hay mow and build a Ford, or, I'd buy them a $50 car when they were 10, 12 years old. They'd go out here playing NASCAR and having a ball. They always had something to do. And they're always around seeing what their dad and their grandfather did for a living. And it just became part of them. They got interested in it, and that's what they wanted to do. Austin went to Penn State for animal dairy science, so he could come back to the farm with a better understanding of what he's going to do and what we do. Not a lot of farmers have sons that want to take over the farm. And when you're in that situation, a lot of the older farmers that don't have kids that want to come back to the farm, they're under the pressure maybe to sell their farm for development or something else, or to another farmer, in fact. But with our situation, with my two sons coming back, it'll keep the Dreger farm going for generations to come, we hope. The pressure's there from the outside, but it has been instilled in us over the years to deal with those pressures. We know how to deal with those pressures, where some people don't understand that. But we take it upon ourselves. Nobody held a gun to my head when I was a kid and said, "You got to farm, Mr. Dreger." I chose to do this. This is what I want to do. You know, just going out there and going across the field in an open tractor, or even a tractor with a cab on it, just gives you a feeling of well-being, like, you know, I own this. This is what I do. This is what I enjoy. I don't really have to go to a job and be bored just for a paycheck.
I feel like I'm very fortunate because I work for myself, essentially. You know, I have to cater to what my dad wants and, you know, that. But for the most part, I have pretty free range on what I want to do. To keep yourself motivated sometimes it's kind of difficult, but just looking out at the cows and seeing a few heifers on cows on pasture, just milling around, being happy. I mean, it's just a very rewarding feeling. Or standing on a hill looking over the corn and the alfalfa fields and just knowing that that's all yours and you put it there and you're tending it and growing it, and it's, you know, it's just a really rewarding feeling. I think it's something we need to do, not only farms, but in general, to preserve open space and land. Because pretty much once it's gone, you're not going to get it back. And the population is growing. So we have to kind of preserve what we can now so it's there for the future.